The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Fellas, let's move on to the main event of this night. We had Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. And round one, Frank Martin seemed to be the more active fighter. He was landing more than Tank. Round two was close, but I think Tank started opening up. And then moving on to round four, I think Martin did a good job of maintaining his composure and sticking and moving, but you could just tell the power difference when Tank touched him. And around round five, Tank was walking him down, and Frank Martin did a good job of fending him off with that jab. But like in the previous round, I just think Tank has had the power advantage. And through round 6 through 7, I think both guys landed a good shot. It was a good back and forth between like the 6th and 7th round. And then when we moved on to round 8, Tank walked him down into the corner and was just landing those power shots. Boom, landed that big left hook, and it was good night, Irene. And Tank Davis gets the win by KO and retains that lightweight title. Chris, what were your thoughts on this one?
Tank's interesting. I mean, we just talked about bringing up your power from a lower weight up. This is what Tank does. We've seen him don't look so dominant in the fight against these I think 135 and the 40s.
Yes.
140s.
Yeah, this is at 135.
Yeah, so I think once he got up to the 135 and the 140s, he's not looking as dominant as he used to be, right? He's on a smaller size, but he is bringing the power there still, and that's what's impressive, because I think the last 3 or 4 fights on the card, he's not even winning, but he's getting these guys out of there. You know, he's not letting it go decision. It's almost like, oh, you can't let this go decision. I think his knockout rounds are like 7 through 9. He got to get you out there. If you can get past the 9th round, you might have a chance to beat him. You know, that's why I'm looking at my opponent, because most of his fights, he's getting out jabs, getting out punch, because he's so small compared to his opponent. That's why when he flirts and talks about going into 145, I just think, like, nah, you can't even. You could barely make it at 140 if you fight someone that's devastating there, you know, or someone that's 145, 147 and goes down to 140. You know, to fight him, he has to drain him out, because he's so small, but he brings the power, but he's just so small that he might not win the rounds. You know, he's not going to get to his opponent until real late. He has to gas him out, run him around the ring, gas him out, and then when he catches you, it's 9-9.
For sure. Steve, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it was looking competitive, you know, those first rounds. But I see Gervonta, he just walks his opponent down, and like you said, Chris, he doesn't look for a decision. And I think that's why it makes him an exciting fighter to look at, even as a fan. That is what a fighter is. And across combat, MMA, it's like, yeah, you get respect, but the deep fighters, you know, who are dog fighters, they look at fighting to end it. And that's what Gervonta does. And not looking for the scorecard, which is, I feel like, a purist. You know, he's not looking for a outside advantage, which to him in his mindset is a decision. You know, he's going to knock you out, and he brings it, and he backs what he says up, you know, before the fight, and backs it up. So I think he's a special fighter, and he was, as far as that hook over into the hook, he was landing that all night, and that's murder she wrote at the end of the fight and got him out of there. Like I said, and if he does go up, like you say, he can probably hang in there, but advantage is probably speed. I really want to ask who else is there out there to challenge him. As far as who I know in his weight class, like I said, there's a few, 2 at the top of my head, but he's a dangerous person in his weight class, and he proved it yesterday.
What's interesting about Tank is that the last 5 fights, we've seen different knockouts from different hands. It's not the same punch. Usually someone like, oh, you gotta watch the overhand right. You gotta watch the uppercut. He's used the uppercut. He used the body shot. We've seen him use the hook. We've seen him use like the overhand right. We've seen him use like different, like he's just he's dangerous with both hands now. Like we're just looking at him like, oh shoot, he's dangerous with both hands. We knew he was they call him Tank for a reason, but he's dangerous with both hands. We're seeing the combination. He can knock you out with either anything. Like if he sees the opening, now we're seeing the boxing in him. I think now we got to pay attention to his boxing skills because now we're seeing that he's getting to your weakness and he's gonna find that weakness in you, and then he's using his talent to knock you out what he needs to do. So I'm impressed with that because not the one like before. He was getting his guys out of there because he was quicker, faster. But now he's figuring out your weakness. Like the Garcia fight, knew he had a bad rib, whatever the case, man. I'm gonna get this body shot. I'm gonna get to him. Boom. Knew this guy, he can hit him with the hook. I'm gonna get this hook off. I'm gonna get to him. Boom. So he's taking advantage of his talent, what he got for his power, and he can knock you out with both hands. I love it.
Oh, for sure. He's got talent in both hands, like you said, to piggyback that sentiment. But going back to what you said earlier, Chris, like I don't think he should try to rush up to 140 or 147. He would not probably fare well at that. But touching on what Steve said, what's next for him? So let's get into that. I think he would be better served staying at 135. And if he does that, two opponents that because a knock on him has been his strength of schedule, so to speak, that he hasn't really faced anybody. But he got Garcia out of there. That's a name. Frank Martin's no slouch. He just got him out the paint. But what about like a Shakur Stevenson? Because Stevenson's got a fight in a couple weeks. Stevenson came up from 125, 128, and now he's at 135 as well. So would y'all like to see him face Shakur Stevenson or a Lomachenko? Either one of those, think y'all think that would be a good matchup? I'll start with you, Chris.
He being Lomachenko easy.
You think easily?
Yeah, he gonna knock Lomachenko out.
Well, Lomachenko looked good his last fight.
He gonna drain. The thing about Tank, he gonna make him fight at 135. Get him out there. Lomachenko's old. He ain't young. He old too.
Hey, you trying to call us old, Chris? We both.
I'm old, man. That's why
That's
I don't get in that ring. You look, I'm old. You kidding me? I'm not looking in that ring. I look at that ring and walk right past it. Like, yo, good job, young fella. I be at the gym. Good job, young fella. Yeah, keep doing all that. Do all that. I ain't getting in there. I'm sparring. I don't even know what my sparring helmet, my gear is at. I don't even know what that's at. I don't even know what bag that's in. I just bring in the gloves and that's it. I ain't touching nobody hitting me in the face. That's over with. We old, but Stevenson would be good, but I don't think them boys want to fight Tank. I think they thought they wanted to fight Tank, but real talk, them boys don't want to fight Tank. I never felt Tank was dodging him. I don't think Tank is a dodge. Like, he don't even go after the belts like that. Like, I don't think he's been dodging them. If the money's right, he gonna do it. But I don't feel like for him, like Stevenson, honestly, he has the name. He's a new young prodigy, but who has he fought?
Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, who is he fought?
What was his last fight?
He fought that Dominican guy that was
yeah.
But like I'm saying, like, what's his resume? Who has he fought?
That's a good point. He's got 21 wins. His last fight was against Edwin De Los Santos, like you said, and then Yoshino. I mean, not a lot of big names on his resume either.
And it's almost like it feels bad for him because this is the thing about boxing. There's too many belts because this is what Spence was going through when he first came in the game. Because Spence was dangerous coming off the Olympics as well. And nobody was fighting him, and he was trying to get this big fight, but nobody was going to fight him. No one's trying to fight him. Not like people were scared, just that no one's fighting him until he got the matches he needed. But he ain't really fighting nobody. I think Tank could it'll be an interesting fight, I guess, but I think Tank will actually beat him. I don't think he has the talent to beat, because we say Tank don't fight nobody, but at 132, I think he was fighting a lot of fighters down there that were actually really good. I seen him. What's that Mexican fighter that he knocked out with the uppercut that was devastating by the ring?
Was that Cruz de la? Was it Cruz?
Yeah, that guy was a monster down there. Everybody that he fought was a monster. So it wasn't like Tank wasn't fighting people. He got some names under his belt. So it's like for Tank to fight Stevenson to me gotta fight a Garcia, gotta fight somebody else before they go to Tank. That's how I feel. Like if I'm Tank, like you gotta go somewhere else first before you come to me.
Yeah, Leo Santa Cruz. Yeah, Leo. I think you're talking about that Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that was devastating. I didn't think Tank was gonna. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, Tank's for real." Because that uppercut was devastating.
Wow, for sure. So what do you think, Steve? You think like a Lomachenko fight or a Stevenson fight would be the way to go for Tank?
Definitely. I have to look. Although I've seen Stevenson's, I've seen a lot of Lomachenko's, but probably not enough analysis. But I would say that Lomachenko would be a good fight, considering Lomachenko is a so to speak, what type of fighter? A counter sort of move and footwork and bobbing and weaving versus Tank going in for the kill. So I think that would be maybe a stylistic matchup, maybe just thinking about it. Stevenson, I think that would be a good fight too, because not only that, like you said, Lomachenko, you said he's getting older and he's been around, but had his losses, and Stevenson's on the rise. So you always want to go for the person on the rise, unless the other person just left off on a good, noticeable win. So I think maybe leaning towards the Stevenson.
So Chris is saying that he doesn't want to see him go up. I think 147 is definitely out of question. But what about 140 and with his peers like Devin Haney and Teofimo up there, 140? I wouldn't like to see him face maybe one of those dudes. I'll start with you, Chris.
But the thing is, I feel like Tank's gonna have to drain him. Like there's gonna be a catch weight at the end of the day. They're not gonna fight at their normal weight. Like it just doesn't seem like, I'm not saying it's not fair. Yeah, we would want to see it. I think they'll sign up for it, but it's just like you want people to come into the fight and come in naturally. You want them to come in the next day naturally. Then there's no chase, there's nothing, there's no behind the scene type of activities going on, So I just feel like for me with Tank, I don't think it don't transition well if they can come up, if they can walk in that joint at 140, then the next day they can go in there at 155. They got some meat on them after that. They went to the steakhouse, they don't got some meat in them, got some protein. So it's a long night for Tank. Cause Tank's little, man. Tank's a little guy. So if he can drain you out and you're in a catch weight, or if you're fighting at 135 and you're keeping it, the max you probably go from 135 to like 142. Tank to me is going to he's probably the next day at 146 or something. Maybe the next day he hydrates to that weight. So, he is even, but at 140, I don't think it's going to be even for him. Just me looking at his body type, he's so little and he's draining himself as well. I don't think it's going to I don't think he's going to match well.
So Steve, would you think he'd fare well against like a Devin Haney at a 140?
Possibly, since hearing Devin Haney's last fight and talking about the upbringing to the fight to where his power and would it translate. I would say out of all the fighters that maybe a weight class heavier, maybe Haney would be possibly a person to where he can fight without being in too much danger. But like y'all said, maybe they have to be drained, and we don't see Gervonta, I don't think, anytime soon going up.
Yeah, I think he still may be able to carry a little pop up to 140. 5 pounds is a big difference when you're at those weight classes, but I don't know, man. He just seems like a mini Tyson in there, and definitely not 147. But you never know. You never know. Like Chris said, he probably have to drain those guys, but I would be interested in it. But I think he could just dominate 135 as well. He could do whatever he wants at this point. The world is his oyster at this point. But it was definitely a fun fight, and we'll keep a lookout on what Tank does in the future. Like I said, he's kind of got that Tyson aura as far as like knockout power, and he's a fun guy to watch. It, his moments go viral, so definitely entertaining. Thank you for checking out this Haymaker Combat Sports segment. This full episode could be found on the Haymaker Combat Sports YouTube page and in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, peace.